I didn't have to move the mic up that far this time. Usually it's been about a foot. Next up is a kind of a 2-for-1 special. I will ask Ken Perone to come to the podium, and he will introduce Dana Corey. And Dana Corey will sort of talk about himself, but also lead into his father, Slip Corey. So, without further ado, Ken Perone.
All I can say is thank God that we rise after every person comes up here, because as Tom Kelly will probably tell you, when you get to be 80 years old and above, like Tom and I, kind of rigor mortis sets in. The only way I could get my blood flowing was to get up and sit down, get up and sit down. On the way up, I didn't know if I was going to make it. I stopped to see God, and I did stop. And I know Ralph was over there timing me with a calendar to see how long it was going to take me to get up here. But tonight I'm honored to represent Dana Corey. I've coached 38 years of football and 60 baseball seasons. And in that time, I've had some great 3-sport athletes. 2 of them are in this room tonight. Stevie Tardif down here, and of course his teammate Dana Corey. They both rank up there probably in the top 10 of all the athletes I've coached at 6 different schools. There might have been better basketball players than Dana Corey, better football players, and better baseball players, but none could play all 3 sports and be a force in all 3 like Dana Corey. And this is for these ball players out there. Whatever he asks you to do on the field, I'm here to swear that he did it for me many years ago. So anything he asked you to do, he did it, and did it 100%. Dana was his coach's dream to coach. He always expected an awful lot from himself. He came to practice every day, passionately, and did this with a lot of enthusiasm, minute by minute, day by day, month by month, in the 2 years that I was privileged to coach him. Dana was a big reason why so many of our team's dreams came true. He was a good basketball player, but he truly excelled in football and baseball. In Dana's senior year, we won our first 4 ball games. And we had a pretty good ball club, but we hadn't faced the Iron yet in Class A. It was our second year in Class A. We had to face Edward Little, which was a power at the time. We had to face Biddeford, which at that time was probably the team in the state for the past 3 years. So before that ball game, and both of those teams had slaughtered us the year before. And this is another lesson to the Brewer football team this year. It's the best Brewer team that I've seen probably since the 1970 team. And they had a setback last week, and they got handled pretty good by Brunswick. Well, the 2 teams I'm going to talk to you about, they killed us the year before in our first year of Class A. It was embarrassing. I didn't take too many losses, but those 2 years were very, very embarrassing to me. So the following year, we were undefeated, but we hadn't played those 2 teams that slaughtered us. So our theme all week was contenders or pretenders. We went into the Edward Little game, and right off the first play of the ball game, they score on a touchdown, and I think, oh God, is this going to happen again? But we rallied and came back to the 7-6 first quarter lead, and then increased it to 15-6. Dana picked up a fumble on our own 25-yard line and ran it all the way back to Edward Little's 30-yard line, which set up our second touchdown. And at halftime, we found ourselves upsetting the big favorite Edward Little team 15-6. Third period comes, and the explosive offense of Edward Little goes to work, and they put 13 unanswered points on the board. And with about 5 or 6 minutes to go in the ball game, we're trailing 19-15. We come back and we score a late touchdown and go up 22-15. This is where it gets kind of hairy for us. We get the ball back, Dana intercepts the ball, and we get the ball back with a little over 4 minutes to go, but we can't run too much time off the clock, and we have to punt from our own 40-yard line. And I know this is a stupid play. We have Jerry Perkins as a coach in here, and a few other coaches and everything. But for some reason I said, we're not going to punt the ball. We're up by 4 points, we're on our own 40-yard line. I called Dana over to the sideline. I says, Dana, fake the punt and throw a screen pass to Steve Sprague. And I did this because I feared Edward Little getting the ball one more time and coming down the field and scoring and we losing at the end of the ball game. I figured if we could get the first down, they wouldn't get the ball again. So anyways, Dana, and if it was anybody else but Dana, I would have never even done it. But I had complete trust in him. To me, he was Mr. Cool and Mr. Clutch. That's the way he practiced and that's the way he played always. So Dana goes back into punt formation and Edward Little's coming in trying to block the punt. Dana makes a nice fake, holds the ball, throws a bullet to Sprague. Sprague gets it, gets the first down, and we control the ball. We not only controlled it, but we go down the field. Steve Sprague and Dana and again Steve Tart taking the ball, brings us down the field, and with 20 seconds to go, we scored, put the game away. Edward Little got the ball for 20 seconds more. I became a hero. If Dana hadn't made the play, Dana had not made the play, my effigy would probably still be hanging from the pole out here. But again, I had complete trust in Dana. The following week, we get the other team that slaughtered us. Another example for you Brewer kids. They beat us so bad, again, it was embarrassing in our first year in Class A. They come in, they have a 28-game winning streak, they won the state title 3 straight years in a row, and they come in here cocky as anything. We go into the last 6 seconds of the ball game, and we're ahead 14-12. And Biddeford's on our 6-yard line, and George Hale's going up there. The Brewer Witches are going to need a miracle here if we're going to pull out this ball game. They throw the ball with seconds left in the ball game. Stevie Tardif goes up, intercepts it in the ball game, and we win the ball game and knock off that team's 28-game winning streak and knock them out of the playoffs. So redemption is beautiful. I expect this Brewer team to do it to Brunswick the next time you play here. Monster game in both those games. In the Edward Little game, he had 9 tackles. He had picked up that fumble and ran it all the way back. And then about 4 or 5 minutes to go in the ball game, he had a big interception and, of course, the big clutch play. And from that time on, you know, I called him Mr. Clutch or Mr. Cool. On the state championship game, we beat Bangor first 19-13, and that was the first time that Brewer had beaten Bangor in a number of years. And went 10-0 and went into the state championship game. And all week long it was saying how South Portland was so big and so strong they were going to outweigh our linemen by 40 pounds. And I'm not going to stand here and say we pushed them all around. We bet, but we never broke. We held them on the 1-yard line, and it was 0-0 at halftime. In the third quarter, they come out and they march right down the field. We're ahead 6-0. And with about 7 minutes to go in the game, Mr. Clutch struck again. We were losing 6-0, and we just got a 15-yard penalty. We're back on our own 35, and Dane hits a long pass to Mike Legassi, and Mike gets knocked down on the 4-yard line of South Portland. Unfortunately, we get a penalty, and it goes back to the 9. 3 plays get us to the 6-yard line, and it becomes a 4th and 6. And again, we pitch out, and God's with us, and Stevie Sprague just gets into the end zone. Dana's got the big extra point coming up. Cooley, he kicks the extra point, 7-6. We win the state title, the first in Brewers history of a team winning a state Class A title and going undefeated. Dana Corey was part of that. He was also part of our coaching staff 2 years later when our team led by Ralph Payne and Bobby Fortier and Frankie Bro and some of the guys that are in here tonight. Dennis Tate went 11-0 again. Was ranked #1 in New England, number one in the state of Maine, #1 in the East, and #5 in the nation. I don't think that record will ever be beaten. But Dana was part of both of those groups, one as a player, one as a coach. But baseball was Dana's best sport. And incidentally, he was named MVP and on the state all-star team that year in football. In baseball, a couple of great stories about Dana. He led us to a 23-win, 2-loss record, which was probably the best in Brewer history to that time. The following year we went 25-1, but I still maintain that that 23-2 team was the best baseball team that I had here. Dana was our leading pitcher on the team, again, along with Stevie Tardif, our leading hitter. And again, we won the PVC championship. Dana was All-State and was PVC All-Star as well. The one story I want to relate to you, my late wife, Jan, used to drag our 4 kids to the football and baseball games. And my daughter, Kim, loved the football games because she could imitate the cheerleaders and she liked to get up and dance when the band played. She hated baseball. So on this particular afternoon, we're at a baseball game, and Dana comes to the plate. And all through the ball game, she's whining, when can we go home? I hate baseball. I don't like baseball. Dana gets up and he hits a ball over the right field fence, across the street, and it disappears behind the house. Kim gets up and she's clapping and she's cheering like crazy. Good, good, goody. He lost the ball. Now we go home. So Dana hit a lot of home runs in his career. And no more famously in the Perone household is the one that he hit that day. My daughter could go home. She lost. She was pretty disappointed when she saw the umpire take another ball out. I have coached 60 baseball seasons, as I said, Salem State, and 30 at Salem State University, and I've had a lot of players drafted. But Dana remains the highest draft of any player that I've ever had anything to do with, and I didn't have that much to do with him. I had him 2 years. He played at the University of Maine for the legendary Jack Butterfield. And when you think about it, being drafted number 2, 40 overall, coming from Maine, Cole State in New England, that's quite a feat because it doesn't happen that often. And that just shows what kind of athlete Dana Corey was. As I said, he's one of the top athletes that I am so happy and have privileged to have coached. In conclusion, when the name of Dana Corey is mentioned in the Bangor Brewer area, it means total respect for all who know him. I'm proud to present Dana Corey, one of my best athletes, the best of the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Talk about belching things. Oh my God. But there's that man and energy. I mean, he gets his whole group fired up. You can imagine what he did for all our teammates and all the people that he coached. Just unbelievable. Guests, inductees, members of the Hall of Fame Committee, administration, student athlete committee, family, friends. And I have a group with my classmates that are out there, my teammates and other friends also, and the people that I coach with. And I love, I totally love. I'm extremely, who was that guy who was that nice looking man that was just up here talking? Coach Brown? Okay, thank you. When I played, we didn't have trainers. Your bell got wrong. You know, we had Dr. Duffy. Nice man, really nice man. So you get 3 questions. Okay. How many days in the week? Easy answer, all of them, right? Right? How many fingers do I have up? Some. What day is it? Game day. And then you were back on the field. That's all you do, because I was right, you were back on the field again. So to my players or our players, okay, you're very lucky that you have trainers now, because you'll start going through these periods and, you know, it's not very good. Again, as I was just going to say, I am extremely excited and honored and humbled to be nominated to be inducted into the Brewer Hall of Fame. I see a lot of my classmates, my teammates, players, student athletes who have come before me, that have been inducted, that have played, that have been part of the Brewer legacy. Gentlemen who play football, and ladies, and those who play soccer. Okay? All of our student athletes. The orange and black is not just a uniform that you wear. It's a legacy of all these people and those that aren't here that have gone before you and won it with pride. Their accomplishments on the athletic fields are not what defines them. We sometimes say, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be defined? Your athletic legacy, so to speak, the things that you accomplish, do not define the whole you. As you can see from all of these people that have come up, and those of you that have been at some of the other inductions, they are what we call a well-rounded person. They do things for the community. They do things for their family. They take pride in what they do, for whatever they work, whatever career they've chosen, be it medical, be it teaching, be it coaching. They take pride in things, serving our country. We've had all of these people come through this area, and we've had all the people that have gone to Brewer High School go through this. And that's part of becoming the person that you are. So it's not just that little bit, that being the best hitter or the best soccer player or whatever that defines you. It's everything else that makes you whole and allows you to share yourself with others and others to enjoy you. So if there's one thing that you can take from this, you have a whole life ahead of you, and you have a whole lot of things to do. And don't just hang on to one thing. Let yourself expand, and expand in a great way for the people that you're around. I was truly blessed with coaches that taught, that cared, that wanted us to do better. And I'll say us, I'm not an I person. I really don't like speaking. And you know, what did I get? You know, VP, that one home, and that one in the closet. It was good to get it, but that's not who I am. We had a lot of players on our team. I've had a lot of great teammates all the way up through Little League, all the way up. Those people shaped me as a ball player, me as a person, along with the coaches and other friends and other families, because we all hung around a lot. We went to everybody's house. I mean, we didn't have cell phones, but we went to everybody's house. And when we went out, we played whatever sport was in season, and then some. And we didn't come home until it was dark. We were always doing something. We'd go shovel out somebody's yard to shoot hoops. Okay, we'd get 3 or 4 of us together, and we'd run pass patterns. Oh, and speaking of that, Coach, one little ditty on you. It's a Friday night, and it's still late in the afternoon, but not time to report to the field yet, or to the locker room. And I'm outside, and I'm throwing the football. Somebody's running patterns. And all of a sudden, from Coach lived like a little ways away from us, it was in voice shot and everything else. Hey, you guys need to get in the house and get rested for the game. Well, it was me and my father out there throwing the football. Dad wasn't willing to give up. Dad wanted to stay out and throw, but since Coach talked to me, then I said, well, I gotta go in the house. But mentioning some of the coaches, and some of you will know their names, but I mean, coaches just have that different thing along with teachers that they bring out in you, especially if they care and they understand you and know where you want to go. One coach particularly I'll talk about right after I'm done talking. And, that was my first coach. And he wasn't a bad coach at all. But I had Bob Brennan, I had Wes Jordan in middle school. Harry Estes was my first football coach. Okay? I played one play of defense my freshman year. One play. And that's only because we were short. We had 10 men on the field and I ran out. Harry hit me off the very next play. And I played defense my sophomore year, junior, senior, and in May. That's where, but if you were the quarterback for Harry, then you didn't play defense. So, and Harry also used to throw up before every single game. And Mom Hadley, Mom was one of the toughest coaches. He'd get down in the line, things weren't going well. He didn't even need a helmet. He'd get down right with our linemen and go against him. And he was certainly a driving force. I had him as a JV coach in basketball too, and he broke my nose. We were practicing pressing, and we were short on people during, I guess, Christmas or whatever, but anyhow, we had to be short on people. We were down pressing, I was jumping up and down. I was right in front of him, and he decided he was going to throw a long pass. Well, he get ready to let it go, and I jumped up. Well, unfortunately, I put my face in the way of the ball. So he ended up breaking my nose. So that was one of the more interesting things that happened. But another one that shaped my life, and Coach Perone, as you can see, the energy, how can you not get excited about playing football, baseball, or anything? I mean, he could probably get me excited about taking, Geritol. Charlie Hedrick, another one. I had him for 2 years in baseball, my freshman and sophomore year. Charlie, year that end, he was a riot. He really was. He was a riot. But if you love baseball and you understood baseball and you wanted to learn baseball, you could learn a lot from him. But as I was saying, he would go out and argue with the umpires, and sometimes it wasn't even, we would kind of look at each other like, what's he doing out now to argue for? But it took his responsibility to set out there. Biggest rule of thumb when you were around Charlie was you want to make sure you stayed upwind of him. Because Charlie chewed tobacco. And so if you were downwind and he spit, you might get it on your uniform. It was always really down his. And hand-eye coordination. Charlie taught civics. At least he taught civics, I believe, when I was there. And if you were talking in class, you would get hit with an eraser. Okay? Now those suckers, they had wood on them. Because the old chalkboard, they had wood. He could put it between two people with 6 inches right there and still in the back. He had a great arm. So not only could he hunt for people from the outfield, he could hit anybody in the class. And you were all fair game. And yes, my sister Donna, thank you very much. I got all of these here.
Remember that one.
But she has done a good job supporting me in everything I do too. And Jack Butterfield. Jack, my son Jack, is named after Jack. Great man, great man. And an inspiration, like Coach Perone and the other coaches that I've had there. And I also played for Merrill Red Bulls down in Cape Cod. Fortunate, yes. All these men were men of good character. They cared about you. They took and they pushed you, knowing the limits that you wanted and the limits that you could do. And they shaped me into, hopefully, the type of coach that I am. 5 of them wanted me in Hall of Fame for baseball. And I don't think I can be any more blessed than that. You're lucky I'm getting near the end of me. I still got Dad to do. And he's going to be a tough one. I've got 2 things, because I'll cut this piece short, because I don't need to talk about me anymore, but Pat Murray's not here. Those of you that know Pat Murray, he was a tenacious football player. I mean, you just didn't want to mess with him. My sophomore year is starting defense, and Freddie gave a 4th cover. And bump goes, Corey, get in there. So I went in a quarterback. So I got to the huddle, And you know, sometimes there's these teammates that just, they inspire you to just lift you up to great heights. So I got in there and Pat goes, you know, we'll leave up some of these relatives. Corey, if you fumble that snap, I'm gonna kill you. Okay, well, all right, so it was a choice of live or die. So I'm here, so you know I didn't fumble, because he would have taken up on his word, and I would have been dead. But I mean, this is teammates and the things and the fun and all the things that happen. You guys can experience this. You guys have a great experience having teammates, having coaches who care about you. I have a little something to read. Okay. Coach Crone sent this. He spends like forever on the internet. I don't know what you see. You get the emails from him? Okay. I was thinking of blocking it myself. It's not really polite to do. Okay. So, it's kind of for everybody, but okay, student athletes who want to kind of listen to this, because you're going to go through this. And like I said, I've been blessed. It's called the train. And my train has a lot of cars. It has a lot of seats. Okay? So anyhow. At birth, we boarded the train and met our parents. And we believed that they would always be with us on our travel. However, at some station, our parents will step down from the train, leaving us on the journey alone. As time goes by, other people will board the train, and they will be significant. In other words, our siblings, friends, children, and even the love of your life. Many others will step down and leave a permanent vacuum. Others will go unnoticed, and we don't even realize that they vacated their seats. This train will be full of joy, sorrow, fantasy, expectations, hellos, goodbyes, farewells. Success consists of having a good relationship with all passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. The mystery to everyone is, we do not know which station we ourselves will cut down. So we must live in the best way, love, forgive, and offer the best of who we are. It's important to do this because when the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories for those who will continue to travel on the train of life. I wish you a joyful journey on the train of life. Reap success and give lots of love. More importantly, thank God for the journey. Lastly, I want to thank you for being one of the passengers